Hello, good day, and welcome to another presentation from us at Budget Consultants Limited. Now, today's video will be around this post that I made in the community section, and it is stating the story of a customer in St. Andrew that trusted the process. And I outlined the different things that actually the company was hired to provide support with for this particular project. Now, the picture that's on display can also be presented here. This is a better view of it. This is the last picture I took of it with the drone based on the works. The work has advanced a little beyond this now, but at present it is not far from here. A few windows in, no doors as yet, and a few suspended ceilings. Now, this project was introduced to me based on a customer referral. And when I went there first, this is where the project would have been. And the customer was about to approach a financial institution for additional funding to bring the house to a habitable state. So what would have happened when I went there first? There would be no upper floor roof, and we would have to be doing quantities for the works from this particular point to go up. Now, as it relates to the sum, I will not be mentioning the total sum in the general area, but in the members area, I will say and present what was used, what the calculation went, and how things progress. Now, this is another overhead of the same property. So just a confirmation that the building was pretty much blocked up on the first floor, but no work was done apart from that at the point. Now, after being engaged and providing quantities and consultation, that's where the funding started, where we actually communicated with the customer to ensure that things went along with plans, things such as providing labor-related calculations and material-related calculations was a big part of the process to ensure that every funding that's going to come from the bank would line up with what the customer would have in hand. So in this case, you'd have to have two set of quantities at play. You had the quantities that was done to secure the finances, and then you would have to have the support because this customer was acting as their own contractor. So we had to provide support as it relates to what projected sums were supposed to be used for different activities such as material, labor, and equipment. Now, this picture was taken when the casting of this first slab was to be done. This was upon inspection. Now, this picture is after the first casting was done. So quantities worked out good in terms of material and also labor. Customer did not have any excessive waste, and things such as the concrete was spot on to ensure that things didn't get out of hand. Now, this other picture was taken at another advanced point. So where we would have shown a minute ago would have been at this level where the slab is. So this is another advanced movement of works. This is where the other floor was added. The slab was put in place and the preparation for the roofing was also done. Now, this picture is at the point that the casting of the slab was done and they were making provisions for things like the entry before the roof could have been done. So I'm just sharing this picture as a rough one. And this picture was taken when I did my visit after providing information as to how cost was to be distributed to deal with the roof and other related works, such as rough and float of walls. Now, what is really interesting about this particular roof activity, we were able to outclass a very major player in terms of supplies of services for roofing to ensure that the customer's budget was pretty much controlled and things was going along with plan, as well as the fact that our quantities were being properly administered and works were pretty much under control. Now, for this particular roof, we made a projection for the roof to come to a total of 18 square, but one of the suppliers of the roofing material did a projection of 27 square, and we were willing to add another square on ours and go for 19. They were willing to take off 3. Now, a demonstration of this was that we would have considered this to be the 19 that I just made mention of, and I'm going to put theirs at the 27. So originally they started at 27 and we started at 18. So let me correct this. So the difference that was being seen here, if both were to have a similar rate, let us say we were going to do a rough calculation to say the cost of the roofing would be presented at the same rate, it would have shown a difference of 27,000. Now, this is the nicer way to look at it. This is more like in line with labor. If I was to consider something like material in this, let us just say we use $150,000 per square, and I am going to put it for both of them, then you will see a bigger difference. So there would be a difference of over $1.3 million between the two quantities. But as I said, we were willing to give another one, but they were only willing to take a reduction of at least 3 squares. So they were at 24, we were at 19. So essentially, there was a difference of over $750,000. So this is how the customer benefited from the consultation. And the great thing about it was that the customer was confident that our numbers were good, and therefore they went with what we presented and executed the job within the range that we projected. So this is the roof fully on, which is confirming that the job is where we wanted it to be. The customer now is at the point of closing off most of these windows and jambs and also putting in some windows in places which are prepared. There's also suspended ceilings that are inside. This is where they are at now. The customer is actually putting in the suspended ceilings in the house, especially at the point where the roofs are at, the suspended ceilings are being installed. So I look forward to give some updates on it. Most of the technical details, like I said, is going to be in the members section. One of the things to note is that this customer is a regular customer who started off with basic NHT and their personal finances, and they have put a lot of work into this property. One of the great things about this is that the property value for this dwelling is way above what it is that the customer has spent on the ground. So it's a win-win for the customer. So, like I said, we will show some technical information on this as it relates to the process, how we approach quantities and etc. But that's going to be done in the members section. So if you're on the channel and see a lot of the videos popping up saying members only, that is on the base. Have changed a lot of our policies related to how we present stuff, because in this market, we do not want to end up in a situation where persons take our quantities and our information, then reproduce them and repackage them, because we have seen that starting to happen. But anyway, that's where I'm going to be closing now. This is our customer who is heading towards success. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.